that's going through the judicial process now. Next page, rapes, they're about the same, 5 last year, 4 this year. And like I said last year, but every time there's some in college juveniles. Burglaries, last year it was 39, same year to date this year, 33. Robberies, they're down somewhat significant. Last year there was 21 at this time, 9 this year. The thefts are way up from 320 and 14 to, well, 346, they're not way up, but they're up. Those include shoplifters, so that's a big part of it. Thefts from auto, they're about the same as last year. Stolen vehicles, 13 to 3. If you remember last year, we had that one weekend where the one person stole numerous cars, so that's probably has a lot to do with that. The shots fired are up in both actual and reported, 42 to 46, from 14 to 15, and 31 to about 13. We just had a shots fired call this evening, but nobody was injured. There's 1 in custody, they're looking for 3 more. In the last 9 weeks, we've filed 22 felonious gun charges. About a third of those people charged are juveniles. So the juvenile part of it's really up this year. The arrests, as you can see, arrests and charges are up significantly from last year. And we have 1 reported arson, and there was an arrest made on that. In those arrests and charges, the task force got an officer from out of town. They did prostitutes last week. They arrested 2. 1 is still due in court. The other one pled guilty. She got 30 days. That was with Judge Bednar. So it depends on what judge we have that day. So once we get a judge seated, hopefully we'll have a little better. I also gave both Prosecutor Lamatrice and Judge Bednar, I look what other towns do. And a lot of times when they arrest these girls, they ban them from going in a certain area of town, unless they have legitimate business, which they don't. So I'm going to talk to whoever, well, it'll probably be Judge Massey, but hopefully we can get something like that.
All these prostitutes, how about the Johns? Were they locally, were they just, the ones they got caught with?
That was a police officer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they would catch them with
No,
the Johns.
it was, to prove the case, you have to have them on tape and everything.
I just want the name of the paper.
It was a police officer.
I just want the name of the paper,
Yeah.
Johns. Thank you.
Chief, you told me you were going to use, I don't want to give you a lot of detail, but use it the other way too, like you just brought up with the John.
Yeah, we're going to, yeah, in the future, I'm not going to give you a date, but we're going to have females out there. So, yeah, we'll do reverse. We're going to tell you what we're going to do. We are going to do that.
Chief, on the recent shots fired, does that have a lot to do with the big drug bust a few weeks back?
I don't believe so. These are juveniles. Last week, it's mostly the north end now, and the 1 15-year-old, they got a 45 from his residence, and then the detectives actually located a 9-year-old that was hit. But, and I don't think it has anything to do with the drug bust. I think it's just, unfortunately, these juveniles just shoot haphazardly. And, you know, if they ever hit anybody that's innocent, it's going to be a real problem. And it's not fair to the citizens that they have to live like this when these kids, they're kids, and they're shooting, and they don't know where these bullets are going. And like tonight, a house got hit up there. They wasn't shooting at that residence, but the house got hit. And that's the same that happened last week. And The one gun involved that the juvenile had, it's over $1,000 gun. So, and the other gun was a Glock that was purchased 2 days prior.
It wasn't stolen, $1,000 wasn't stolen?
No. It was a Kimber. Weren't they about 1,000?
Yeah, I got one, about $1,200.
So, but like I said, the juveniles really spiked this year.
They shooting at each other, or were they shooting random, or?
No, they're shooting at somebody, but they shoot at such distances. Next week, Judge Karati's going to have an intervention on the juveniles along with his Attorney General's office, but we're going to do a presentation down there next week. So hopefully that'll help.
Thank you. Any other questions for the chief?
I'll bring up one point. I know, Chief, we're reading a lot about the increase in crime in a lot of cities across the nation.
Yeah, I believe the Herald Star had it.
Are we experiencing some of the same things? And granted, they bring up usually significantly larger communities, but you want to comment on that? Because it seems to be a nationwide, unfortunately, a very bad trend.
Yeah, and I think that's reflected in the shots fired calls. A lot of people are shooting haphazardly. It's, I don't know how else to put it. They're aiming at somebody that they just throw the bullets out there, and it's scary. I think the Herald Star had a story on that, and it was also in, I get a daily news thing from Police One. That was an article this morning that they had posted too, about the increase in crime, violent crime throughout the United States. And nobody wants to come out and say exactly what is attributed to, but there are several theories. But it's too early to tell.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Before we move on, we'll welcome Mr. Paul.
All right, Mike.
Okay, then we're going to go right back to the chief, right, for your license.
Yes, Chief, we've gotten some vice reports the department has issued. We've shared those with council. Would you like to elaborate on those?
I mean, as long as the time the officers check that area, they're checking Fifth Street too, because there's an abandoned house. I'm still trying to find out who owns it. I can't look it up online. As soon as Officer Scott has time. Yeah, 321 and 323, I believe, North 5th Street. I can't find it online, but Officer Scott will find out. They're empty, they deboarded. So, we're going to go from there.
Any questions on that, Council?
Kenny, I want to share something with the chief and everybody, I guess. I got an email from a lady, and she kind of touched my heart. And I want to, she actually identified herself, but I won't say the name. Mr. Golomagna, you don't know me, but I want you to know how much you've touched my heart and soul with your concerns over the prostitution in Steubenville, Ohio. I only wish that others would have done something sooner. I'm one of the unlucky wives that contacted HIV, which is a sexually transmitted disease. I've had 2 surgery procedures because I've gotten one of the strains of it that has caused cervical cancer and cancer lesions, which are all a result of my husband's behavior. He has admitted to it, but I have a very long, scary road that I'm on. I can only tell you that I have a hard time keeping my hope and faith for my future. But with your help of forcing the community to clean this up, just maybe you will save another woman to not have to go through what I have to go through. That alone makes me feel so much better. This is just a thank you from the bottom of my heart for your passion and caring for people like me, the victims. You have given me hope for others and prayer. Hope for others, prayers to you. That's why, I mean, that's just one. I'm surprised the lady came forward and give me information. I mean, who she was and stuff like that. Just wanted to, it does have an impact, which is, trying to get it off the street. So you're more familiar with what I said there than I am, but I looked it up online, and it's a very serious thing It does cause cancer.
Yes, it can cause cancer if it does go untreated for a
Yeah.
long period of time.
Thank you, Bob.
It's all I got.
Willie?
I have one question. It was something that you were talking about homes. The one on Pennsylvania Avenue, it was a dirt bust. It would start on Sunset and then went to Pennsylvania Avenue. And there was 5 kids in the house. The parent wasn't there. And Sheriff Fred Abdallah said that there was filth in the house. And they were going to vacuum in garbage bags. There was no running water. Do you remember that? Do you recall that? Maybe you weren't here. I don't know. It was just a couple weeks ago. And I talked with Mr. Di Loretto about it. I want to know who owns that house. Is that a landlord that's letting someone live in that house without running water? Is letting them go to bathroom in a bag and live in such filth? Or is this something that, and I know it's not your, I was just, maybe it's Chris or someone could find out that house, whose address, and who owns that.
You know, now that Willie's kind of pointed that out, that there is, we've asked this question a few times going through the water procedures, all the problems that we have with water. What is, Shalita, if I could put this to you, what is the proper way to handle our law when there's no running water in a home? How long can they live like that? Or do we have something on the books from the health department to act on?
There is something in the building code that states that they're not supposed to live in the house without running water, which is.
Okay, maybe Chris, maybe we'll pass that to him, sorry.
That's okay.
It's in the property maintenance code that all occupied premises have to have hot and cold running water. And it is a minor misdemeanor to live in a house. That occupant could be fined in municipal court for a code violation. Or you still can't make them move. There's no mechanism to make them exit the residence. It's just a fine.
Thank you.
And I will say that what we have witnessed in the past, if you do go to court and if you can produce receipts saying that I've been bringing water into the home, in most cases, you're not really going to have any charges.
I just know that Sheriff Abdallah was almost in tears again. You know, he's very emotional. And he said there was 5 kids living in his home. There was it was in such the filth and the stench. And I hope it wasn't a landlord. I hope maybe these guys this person just came. And I don't know if the guy's still at large or not. I can't remember the 2 names of the gentlemen that they're looking for. But they ended up eluding the police. And I remember this was about 2 weeks ago. It started on Sunset, but you may not be here.
No, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the address, but I know that where the kids went that night, an officer went down to check for the condition of the house that the kids went to. I remember that much, but I can't remember the address.
I think it's a crime alone, just that those kids had to live like that. Also, that there was no running water. And if it's a landlord, I think he's also, that should be, should be some law against him. If you know what I'm saying, to rent this to someone and he knows that there's no running water, I don't know. If it is a landlord, then we'll make an ordinance that they'll be punished. We can do that, right? We can make an ordinance.
Mr. Bolin has something on that.
Well, yeah, and you may recall last year we had identified maybe 8 or some number of houses or structures like that. I know that number has steadily declined over time, but we can certainly update where we are with individuals living in a house without hot water, and it is against our code. It should not be allowed, and where we have those situations, then process with the health department, the building department, the chief, if we need to issue a administrative warrant, here goes forward. But we certainly can give an update on where we are with those. I believe we've made significant progress. I'm not going to say we don't have those, because obviously it sounds like we got one.
Right,
That's
we didn't know about.
but I would imagine that those are going to pop up every once in a while. We need to be very vigilant on those, and no one should live like that.
Especially the 5 kids. That was the most disheartening right there. The 5 kids that live in that.
Mr. Bolin, when we're done with our meter replacement program, Should we be able to monitor that better? Address to who has a,
In general, I'd say we should be able to. Let me get a little bit more detailed explanation from Lindsay as well, because I think she'll be able to give, but the short answer is yes, but I think there's a good long answer that.
and we still have that issue with curb boxes, so that's gonna play, we can't shut them off.
And yeah, and that's, but again, that's a number that has been reduced, it's going down, not at zero yet, but, and Chuck and Lindsay have done a lot of work on the curb boxes to identify which ones need to be replaced and how to move forward.
Thank you. Sure. Any other questions on it, Mike?
Yeah, Willie, you mentioned maybe redo an ordinance. There's already a law, the Ohio Revised Code says a landlord cannot rent. What's the ramifications for a landlord that rents and he doesn't provide running water, Gary? That's already, it already exists.
I'd have to take a look at the ordinance. You say there's a statute.
In the Ohio Revised Code, it states that a landlord, if a property owner, if he's gonna rent his property, must provide running water to that location. And if he doesn't, I don't know what the ramifications are, but we should pursue that. If it's a misdemeanor, it's a misdemeanor, but let's go after the property owner also, because you're right, that was disgusting on TV.
Right.
You know,
And that hurt, yeah.
And that could go another direction as well. If they're living there, they didn't pay their water, they're already renting, they didn't pay their water, we shut them off. How does the landlord get them out of there at that point? So that's a lot of Gary questions right there.
Well, the landlord should evict them.
Right?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Landlords are allowing those, as long as the landlord's getting paid, he doesn't care how those people are living.
He probably, there ain't no water there, they know it.
Right. I mean, if the landlord.
Well, we know, the landlord would know if it's water at the tenant's house, it's shut off.
Yeah.
Because we get notice when they're late, so we definitely know if they're shut off.
But if there's something we can do, I mean, I think our sanitation workers have an idea of who's not paying garbage and who doesn't have running water. So we can, if it is a landlord that owns that, we could put them on notice that you're out of compliance with the Ohio Revised Code, and this is perfect. You got to give them whatever warning to fix it, and if they don't, then let's penalize them.
Let's start with that one in Pennsylvania.
I know several landlords that have written into their lease that if you get disconnected, that's terms for eviction. I mean, that's probably the better landlords.
Where you have problems.
Yeah.
That's in the master lease that Joe Latino has when I met with him. He has that provision in his.
You met with them already?
Well, remember before our last meeting, I met with him out there at Pleasant Heights. McKinley.
Oh, you mean just, you didn't meet with the whole association?
No, she just went mostly meeting.
Okay, back to the vice reports. Willie, you got your hand, you ready?
No, we're at, go ahead.
If that's it for the vice report part of this, then we'll move on now to the strategic safety plan.
Chris, if you could update us on the Hilltop Neighborhoods Strategic Safety Plan, also the progress that's being made with the task force. I appreciate it.
It's a couple of items. First, to turn to the second page is regarding, I'll let Bill address the first one regarding the new officers. But on the second page is regarding demolitions. Our demolition program is continuing, and the contractors are continuing to work on the properties listed there. With regard to the remainder of property on our demolition list, right now, the asbestos assessor is out doing the asbestos assessments on about 80 homes. And so if you see someone going into properties, it's probably our asbestos assessor, and we did provide a list to the police department in case there calls. But the people doing our asbestos assessment are actively working. We're also advertising, in fact, some will be advertised starting Thursday. Notices to owners that we couldn't locate because we're required to, if we could not notify them by mail, we notify them by placing an ad in the Herald Star. So that's beginning, and then hopefully next month we'll have an ordinance ready to come to City Council regarding the actual demolition of the first group of properties. So this is, those are actively being worked on. And that's funded through the, primarily through the bond fund that the city council approved. With regard to the task force, we did have a meeting at the community school. There were 4 subcommittees that were developed. Peer communities to review what other communities have done with their neighborhoods, urban design and infrastructure repair replacement, to evaluate neighborhood infrastructure and consider options for enhancement, youth outreach regarding youth programs, and tenant screening regarding tenant screening program. As Gary briefly mentioned, that he's working on with Joe Lucchino. So that group continues to meet. We have a meeting next week at the family school on the 23rd, and on August 27th, we'll meet to, we have a representative from the Ohio Community Development Association coming in to make a presentation and discuss successful community development corporations. So those are all things that are happening, still giving the added to the officers.
Just, yeah, with the swearing in the 2 new officers, we're at 38. The one officer who'd been here before, he's already gone through a brief retraining through the FTO program. He's capable, he's working on his own now. Rebecca applied from last year, she's in the FTO program. And the new officer, Tyler, he has a few more weeks of class, then he'll take his test, and he'll start the FTO program. I have one officer that's been off an extended illness, and other than that, we have everybody we should have.
Hey, Chris, we had a meeting today with the CDC. I know that they're trying to increase membership. You talk a little bit about, some of these other communities we're finding have really strong CDCs.
Yes.
How that might be a good model for us.
Most of the communities that have been in these circumstances and have had successful revitalization activities have had successful community development corporations that really spearhead the efforts. We're able to seek funding through foundations and to take on projects and tackle bigger projects within the neighborhoods. And so we're looking at how these other communities and CDCs work to try and use the same model to enhance our Hilltop CDC so that they can get the resources that they need to take on some of the projects that we're looking at for Hilltops.
And this is just landscape or streetscaping improvements. It's not more HUD housing, as we spoke about last week, right? Remember how we?
No, this is the Hilltop Community Development Corporation.
Okay, all right.
Them taking on their own projects, and it could be acquiring housing units, rehabbing them, waiting down the road when they have resources.
Right.
But at some point in time, it could be acquiring units, rehabbing them, selling them, say, to owners. It could involve something like that, but at this point, what they really need is members and resources. So that's what we're looking at.
All right, thank you.
Anything else on Hilltop? If not, cleanup program.
Chris, I think back to you.
Since we started the code enforcement program on Hilltops, there have been 66 weed cases, 86 litter cases, 163 building cases, and one other case that I believe involved a vehicle. With regard to the Central Business District, since just a couple of months ago, we started the Central Business District targeting. There have been 6 litter cases and 12 building cases. We also continue to periodically check city entrances, what we call gateways, and major corridors for things that are within the right of way. So, we continue to work on the hilltops and in the central business district on violations.
I think if my math is right, Chris, we had 298 properties that were cited, and actually 316 violations, I guess. Some properties had multiple violations.
Some have multiple.
Happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Kirkland?
Yes, Chris, is there a plan for us to move to the north end or the south end with this target enforcement?
And we're not just, well, we're focusing on the central business district and the hilltops. We continue to write violations throughout the city, so we're not ignoring any neighborhood. If we're aware of something, we were just in the north end about a week ago in response to some complaints, and did some areas of Fifth Street, and so we continue to go throughout the city.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Chris on this issue? If not, I guess Mr. Beard's turn for refuge collection in the streets.
Just, excuse me, briefly, I had a conversation with a representative of the Waste Authority as far as drawing the funds down that they've made available to us. I would hope that by our next meeting, we have the pieces in place. Their wish is that as we conduct our budget and as we incur costs, we would just simply submit our invoices to them and then reimburse us for the cost incurred in cleanup. I did speak with them, and I do believe that an issue near to your heart, we can do something with electronics now then at that point. So those details are being put in place now, and should have some more information in the near future. Since the return of our equipment, we have been sweeping the downtown area in the central business district on a weekly basis. That typically goes in the overnight hours of Thursday into Friday. We've also been able to branch out onto some of the major corridors in conjunction with these other programs to the major thoroughfares and main routes. We still have a lot to do. Again, we're trying to make sure we stay after the central business district and downtown area, and we're working out through the major corridors. We've been able to do some stuff on University Boulevard, which is often a frequent call, Brady Avenue area, the Brady Interchange area. We have been able to get some subdivisions where we've gotten some requests for service, and we'll continue to address those areas as we can as we get out there, while simultaneously trying to keep our focus on the central business district.
Any questions for Mr. Beard?
Well, on the JV Green Team, are we going to get a second bulk pickup free of charge? I think like we were supposed to get.
We did. The proposal that I turned in for them was for a supplemental effort to enable us to do some things and address some of the bulk issues, the bulk waste problems in the city. We certainly can have a discussion regarding a second.
I think that was part of the contract. I think that's where the mayor, they were shortchanged. But I didn't see the pickup the south end, probably the north end too. 1 year is not enough, and it's tough enough to get these people to put them out when it's free.
I think that's worthy of discussion, and that's always within our power. How that ties into our grant with the Waste Authority is something that would have to be discussed in that conversation. But if there's a strong desire, then I mean we have that ability to consider it. If that's something that the council feels strongly about.
Yeah, if I could, we can look at that. In the Green Team plan that was approved, there was additional funding, if available, for bulk collections. Mr. Barrett did submit a grant application. We were awarded $12,000 for having funding of different containers, Bob, located at it's going to be located at the Public Works facility.
Correct.
Doesn't take the place of additional collections, but it was, and that's the Green Team So they would fund us for that, and that's what they funded us for. And we received $12,000, and hopefully Bob will be able to put that into practice here shortly.
Thank you.
Bob?
Well, who do you, I want to rent a dumpster, who would that person contact?
It's kind of a two-part process. The business end of that process is handled by our utility collection office. A person who would like to have a dumpster needs to sign up for it or request it. We ask for a deposit, and
Which, you know what it is?
I believe it's $50. If I'm wrong about that, I'm not always up to date on what's going on in the utility office, but basically just get the account information from the person who's making this request and make sure that we have, that they're a resident and have an active account, because then typically they'll make the request. On the operations side, we handle that, we make the delivery, we get it in place. If it's a one-time deal, fine. If it's a situation where it needs to be emptied frequently and remain in place until such time as the customer's done with it, we coordinate all that. And the billing is, again, it's handled by utility billing office, and then my understanding is it's just, put on the existing utility account for our residents. So it's, the process pretty much begins at the utility collection office with the request and signing up, if you will. And then once the business, the paperwork's done, then we'll schedule and put it in place.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Barrett? That's it for the agenda. Mr. Paul, your meeting.
Yes, I have a couple issues I want to bring up, and I know we're done with this agenda.
Okay.
Okay, Opal Boulevard, we had just paved the street, we paved Opal, Manuel, Central Avenue, and Opal Boulevard is kind of, back when all the homes were constructed, they were built for a single-car garage and a family. Now we have people that are renting, some areas are rented, so we have multiple cars. I'm guilty of this. I have 4 drivers in my house, so I have a hard time keeping cars off the street. But Portland Avenue is a little bit wider than Opal. Opal Boulevard is becoming really congested. The other day I went over to talk to a constituent about something in front of his house, and I was watching the traffic go through, and it's very narrow. It's kind of like almost like Summit Avenue used to be. I don't know, is there a way to, I think they may have tried this somewhere else, to put a no parking on one side, and then in 2 weeks you go to the opposite side. I think it might be out of Cunningham Lane,
Correct.
something like that. I don't know if that's possible there, but we're getting more cars, and, well, let's say we're getting more drivers. Also, people speed, and now, it used to be a bunch of potholes. Now it's nice and smooth, and now we create a highway, so that's the same as what we did on Bray Barton. And I know I brought up about the speed bumps before, and I spoke with a couple of people. And we have them in the middle, they're temporary speed bumps, and we can take them out in the winter, or we would damage our trucks. And what they are is a large rubber speed bump, and you can place them. And there's a lot of kids on that street, there's a lot of kids on other streets when I was doing my walkthrough, when I was campaigning. And you really see how fast people get through these neighborhoods. And I know we're limited our police force. I know they're busy with a lot of other things. And, but I think somehow we need to slow people down, and I don't know how to do it. And the only thing I could really think of was maybe temporary speed bumps, and also, like I said, the parking. Is there an ordinance? I don't know how they came about doing that the last time for the Cunningham Lane. I don't know if that was an ordinance, it was a resolution. Mayor, you might remember, I'm not sure.
It would be an ordinance designated so the police then could enforce it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Well, I did that one time on Lincoln Heights about 20 years ago. Had to go door to door, get the people to sign a petition on one side or the other. It lasted about 6 months.
Everyone's complaining to me though, Young, so I'm just, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if they want some action,
They gotta sign a petition.
this would be the way to help. We need help them.
They gotta cooperate.
Right.
Nobody wants parking on their side, they want on the other side. Same as Rossville Avenue. well, no, I don't want on my side. Well, sign a petition. I don't live there.
And what that is a shortcut to the hospital, to the school,
Right.
and
It is crowded.
very
Take your
crowded.
fire truck there. For a day.
And there's a lot of rental parking there, and what's happening is these people, with these gas people, the workers, they have these huge trucks.
There was a dually parked there.
Right, there's a dually, and it's really, I mean, can you tell the guy not to park there? I don't think, but can we somehow manage this better? People have driveways, let's use them. You know, get one car off the street. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, and Willie bring up some great points. And I just came off earlier this afternoon, and it looks great, but
It does.
I can see the temptation.
Speed.
To encourage some folks to drive faster than they should. You know, I suppose it's a combination of things like that. To be able to just do one thing and have it solved, I'm not certain we're going to be able to hit that one thing. Certainly part of it's enforcement, speed trailer, temporary speed bumps. Other communities are putting in speed tables, which are much lighter, a little more gradual, because I think with speed bumps, communities were finding that, you know, if they were a little bit higher, then, you know, they slowed down cars, but they created some damage to it.
Right.
And there were a new set of problems with that. I suppose, and you know, flipping the parking, I suppose I'd like to have Mike take a closer look at some of those variables. I'm becoming a little bit more enamored with speed tables. And again, it's more money and put it in, but again, it seems to be, and if it, you know, the striping on those kind of people take notice and
Right, to visual aid.
yeah, and so I would like to have Mike take a closer look at that. Maybe he can come up with some other best management practices that he's aware of right now. We might want to look at out there, or a combination.
And we had our digital sign there for a while. People said it really slowed people down. I mean, every time we use that sign, I love it. I wish we had about 20.
It does.
Put them in, you know, each ward. It really
Unfortunately,
slowed
I think it kind of
down.
wears off once you move it somewhere else.
Right,
It's gradually
right.
kind
And then they see, okay, that sign's not there to slow me down, and then they take off again.
of, right. But if I could, I think Mike would be able to give us some good thoughts.
Thank you. Yes, Paul?
Willie, them speed bump things, they're on Springdale. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a permit.
Yeah, and then I went out and I talked to because I like those speed bumps. I think they do a good, they do a good job on Springdale. But I talked to the city crews out there about the Steubenville and stuff, and they said, no problem, we'll get there, we slow down like everybody else does, and go over top of them, and then continue to plow. Because now the temporary ones, I think I remember, because I read about this someplace where it was, but they do more damage because.
You gotta drive a big spike in the ground.
Yeah. But
That's the only-
those ones in Springdale, I just drove through there last night again, thinking about this, because Brian Road is a place that I get complaints about all the time. How nice and gradual they are. I mean, there's three there, I believe there's three. One, yeah.
And they're all signage, letting you know.
Got the arrows coming down right to it. I mean, you're not,
Only time you'll miss it is in the winter, maybe, when there's snow on the ground. Other than that, you know it's there.
yeah. Like that.
And then I have one other issue. And it's back to something I asked back in maybe February, March. The impound lot. When we, and what's the time? I'm sorry. Are we
We're good. You're fine.
Okay. When we stop a car and they have, what's the word I want to use? The license or license expired. Okay, we tow that car, correct?
Yes.
We tow that car. What are some of the other circumstances when we tow a car? DUIs?
Certain DUIs, certain under suspections. Sometimes if you have X number of tickets that are unpaid, even parking tickets that are unpaid.
I've been reading the Daily Happenings a lot lately, and I see that a lot in there. They expire license plates. So I know we're towing the cars. Could we, going forward, maybe, or maybe you kept anything since I asked that last time, or could we
I gotta be truthful with you, my secretary's been gone.
I heard,
Okay?
She fell,
And I cannot put anything more on her to do, I mean, I really don't,
It is something that I can help track. I mean, you know,
no, you really couldn't, because you're not.
well, I mean, if someone would say, okay, we took this car, and then I know that, and I would just say, okay, so this gives me a little idea what's going on, and I will pursue this further, or I will just back on. But I just think maybe we must have been making some extra money.
Well, I can, and I understand the chief's staffing issues. When we talked about that, you're right, I think it was probably February, March.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I had asked our finance director at the time, Gene Priest, to look at that. And we were gonna come back with kind of an outline of the cost benefits, what we could do. Obviously, we've had that vacancy in finance, but I'd be happy to ask Dave to dust that off. And,
Okay.
bring that back. I think we said we were gonna bring it back in the summer, so I think we're still, this is the time to do it.
Okay.
So let me see where he's at and see if we can't explore that a little bit more. At least, that's what I recall.
Okay, all right, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chief. Other than that,
Anything else for the safety committee before we adjourn? Anything at all? If not, we have about 15 minutes before the regular meeting. Mr. Mayor. Make a motion that we adjourn the safety committee meeting.
second.
Okay, now we have about 15 minutes. Come on.